My name is Jill Berry Bowen, CEO of Northwestern Medical Center and your host of the NMC Healthbeat show, dedicated to discussing important healthcare topics of interest to our community. Today I have three guests with me, and we're going to be talking about NMC's Auxiliary. And I'm joined by Auxiliary President Dale McFeeters, and also Auxiliary Publicity Chair Mary Marshall, and Katherine Winchester, NMC's Volunteer Supervisor. So thank you, ladies, for being here today to talk about the Auxiliary. It's great to have you.
Thank you.
So let's talk about what is the Auxiliary. Maybe you could describe a little bit about its mission and structure so we can tell our viewers exactly what the Auxiliary is.
Certainly. Well, we're an organization allied with the Northwestern Medical Center. The Auxiliary is composed of 300 plus members, which we're very proud of.
That is so cool.
Yes, and 15 of the members are directors. The board meets, The board meets 5 times a year, and the General Assembly meets 4 times a year.
Okay.
And when we have a General Assembly, we always have a guest speaker. We have at least three luncheon meetings, and we have one Valentine tea in February.
Okay.
Okay. And the mission of the Auxiliary is to support the mission of Northwestern Medical Center by fundraising and positive community relations. In a nutshell, that's
And we are so appreciative. I don't know what we'd do without you. It's just amazing,
Thank you.
the work that you do.
Thank you.
Yeah, it's very humbling to see the work of the Auxiliary, you know, and the support that you provide. It's really
Thank you very
incredible.
much.
Thank you.
Yeah, it's great. So just to clarify though, there is an Auxiliary and there's volunteers. So what's the
Correct.
difference between those two groups?
Catherine, could you answer that question?
I'd be glad
Yes.
to. So I'm Katherine. I'm the supervisor of the volunteer program at the hospital, and I help the Auxiliary fulfill its mission of the volunteer program. So the volunteer program began through the Auxiliary in the hospital, wanting to have a daily presence of volunteers within the hospital, not just the fundraising aspect of it and the community relations, but a day-to-day interaction with our customers. So back in 1981, Dolly McNeil was hired as the first person to run the program, and she did that for 30 years, and I followed in her footsteps in about 4.5 years ago to continue the good work that she and the Auxiliary did. So the volunteers are about 135 members, and they can be members of the Auxiliary, but they also can be just people who want to help to volunteer at the hospital that are not members of the Auxiliary. So it is a program that runs independent in collaboration with the support of the Auxiliary in the hospital. And we have a presence there 6 days a week, as early as 8 in the morning and as late as 8 p.m.
Wow. Well, thank you for describing that. And so did the Auxiliary get its start the same way, or how did the Auxiliary get started?
Well, I did a little bit of legwork on this, and apparently when the Auxiliary started, I don't know the exact year, but they met in various communities. There may have been a group from Enosburg, a group from Sheldon, and eventually it was moved to the hospital. And when the 2 hospitals merged, Curbs and St. Albans Hospital, the Auxiliary really started to grow. And at that time, Dolly McNeil was hired to be the liaison. And Dolly was here, I think, as you mentioned, over 30 years. And Dolly has since retired, and we've been very fortunate to have Katherine as our liaison now. Yes, very, very fortunate. So in a nutshell, that is how it started. It started way out, as I said, in the communities, which I thought was fascinating. Were you aware of that?
No, it's something that I learned through the work that you did.
Yes, I thought it was very interesting. And to think now, you know, we're 300 members.
Yes.
Fabulous. Absolutely fabulous.
So tell us some of the things that you've done at the hospital, maybe any items you've supported, or projects, or...
Yeah, the Auxiliary has done many, many things, but just a few of the more recent ones are we donated money for the waiting room for the Family Birthing Center.
Ah, yes, yes.
We purchased a mannequin for the emergency department that I believe is used a great deal for training and teaching staff members. We bought a disaster relief tent, which is used in the event of a disaster.
Yes.
And I believe it can even be used as an operating
Correct,
tent.
that's what we were told.
Yeah.
And this year we've donated $100,000 for the building fund.
Yeah, that's just totally amazing and really investing in our future in a huge way. In fact, you know, the first gift, $100,000, you were the pace setter.
We were.
So
How exciting.
I know. It's amazing, and it's here. I mean, the project is here and it's going, and so it's so thank you so much for that. So where does this money come from? How do you get all this money?
Well, we do various fundraisers. Some of them are, we actually had last week had a Tupperware sale, and we have a pearl sale. And at Christmas time, we do have a tea and bake sale along with a white elephant sale. And of course, our biggest fundraisers are cardiac capers and the gift gallery.
So the gift gallery. So how is the gift shop managed, and you know, how is it operated? So tell us a little bit about your gift gallery, which you're going to be getting a larger one, correct?
Yes, we are. We're very excited about that. Well, presently, Shirley Dusso and Katherine oversee the operations of the gift shop, and then we have numerous volunteers who man the gift shop every single day. We're open Monday through Friday, and we have quite an assortment of items in the gift shop. I mean, anything from baby clothes, stuffed animals, lots of candy. People love candy. Fresh flowers. We have articles of clothing. I mean, it's really worth going into and looking around. We love to have people going in our, yes it is, going in our gift shop.
I think I have all your scarves or something like
Right,
that.
right, lots of scarves, so do I. And Katherine, as you oversee the gift shop, and I don't know if you wanted to add anything in there, or do you feel?
Sure. Well, we have a committee that Shirley is the head of. Shirley Dusso is a member of the board, which Dale mentioned. So she helps me with the management and operations, the purchasing of the inventory, and the committee helps with doing the pricing and the restocking. There's about 6 members of the gift gallery committee, so it does take a group of people to help make it effective. And my role is the day-to-day operations of making sure that it is properly staffed so that we can be open to greet our customers.
Yeah, it's great. You've really evolved your inventory, and so it's like the best gift shop in town. You know, I mean, it's great. It's super. So, okay, the other one, I went with the gift shop first because the cardiac capers, I get a little anxious when we start talking about cardiac capers, because this is a cardiac capers year.
That's right.
And that was not in my job description, by the way, when I was hired. I just want you to know. But I think this is like my 4th year, because this is the year for it. So how did this get started? And so tell us about cardiac capers and just what that brings to your funds and the whole thing.
Well, I think all of us have been on stage for cardiac capers at one time or another. And actually, it's a lot of fun. But cardiac caper, it's quite interesting. It started over 30 years ago. It's amazing. And Johnette Duchamp and Bev McGinn were the ones that started it. And how that happened, they had heard of another hospital. I'm not quite sure. I think it may have been Copley, who did this show. So they looked into it, and lo and behold, got in touch with a company from New York. And this company sent up a director and all the clothes and whatnot. And in 2 weeks, from the time the director arrived till the show was over, it was busy, busy, busy. So this went on for several years. And then Helen Biggie and Michelle Lovett, who are 2 members of the auxiliary, said, you know what, we can do this, save a lot of money and more money for the hospital. And so they took it over in 2002, which is amazing. You know, they would write the script for all the shows. Wow. It had a committee. They've been wonderful. Michelle retired from the show. Well, I think she was still in it last year, but isn't as active. But Helen is right in there running the whole show. I mean, she's just absolutely amazing what she can do. And when you think of all the volunteers, from people selling advertising, people working on makeup, background, so many volunteers, and of course everybody who performs in the show.
Yes.
Yeah, because we have so much local talent, and you don't realize it till you have something like Cardiac Capers. A lot of fun. I remember seeing you up there dancing.
I'm not sure I call it mind talent. There are some very talented people. I'm not in that category, but it is a lot of fun and it's for a great cause. So.
It is. It certainly is. And this year, it's going to be held October 19th till the 22nd.
19th through the 22nd?
22nd, yeah.
Okay.
And it's going to be at the BFA Performing Arts Center.
Great, great.
Yeah.
So just tell our viewers about how much do you make off one of these things?
Do you have the number? Yeah,
Yes, in 2014,
yeah.
we made $22,000 after expenses.
That's just
Which
incredible.
Isn't it
Amazing?
incredible?
That is
Yeah.
incredible. And the community support and it's so much fun. I mean, it's
Well, I've worked on the advertising, and it's quite interesting. I mean, you go into a business and say Cardiac Capers, and they'll say, "Oh yes, it's that time of year again," and they get their checkbook out. And this community has been absolutely fabulous.
yeah, it's terrific.
Yeah.
So
We all love our hospital.
we do. We do. We do. Yeah, that's for sure. So how long have each of you been involved in the auxiliary, and how did you get involved? What inspired you to get involved? Just because there may be some folks that would like to be part of your group. So
Well, I had a neighbor ask me,
okay.
and it was soon after I retired, and I joined, and then I've been a member of the board for a year now. So I think it's really important that people give back to their
Yeah.
community, and I've met lots of really interesting people, and I think it's a good idea to get involved in our auxiliary.
Yeah.
Good.
Well, I've been a member of the auxiliary, I think it's around 10 years. When I retired, I had idle time on my hands and said, gee, I need to do something. And I had talked to some of my friends who were members of the auxiliary, so I investigated it and joined and have not looked back since. It's been a wonderful experience. And you just meet so many wonderful people, and again, realize how valuable the hospital is to the community.
So you said you haven't looked back. So what is it about that keeps you both involved? I mean, what do you get from it?
A lot of satisfaction.
Yeah.
Yeah, you feel good that you're doing something for the community, that you're giving back. You're not taking, you're giving back. And then I think I've just met so many wonderful people.
I was gonna say that, yes.
It becomes fun.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
it's social.
Definitely.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's terrific.
Yeah, it's
Well, we
fun.
couldn't be more grateful for the work that you're doing and the support to so many things. And so when you think about, so you have this money and you've made some great donations. How do you choose what you're going to invest in? You know, whether it's a piece of equipment or the disaster tent. So how do you make those selections?
Well, if somebody makes a recommendation for an item or money or a donation, the board will discuss this we have a board of 15 and approve it. We approve it as a board, but then we go back to the General Assembly and the whole General Assembly votes on it. Just because the board said, gee, this is a good idea, doesn't mean it's always going to pass.
Sure.
The General Assembly has the final say along with the board. And it's difficult, you know, to make that decision. Catherine, did you have,
Yeah, well, I think in the conversations in the 4.5 years I've been a member of the board as the liaison, the conversations are always geared towards reflecting on the mission. It's very important that it not be a conversation of what people personally feel one way or another. It is a business decision to be sure that we're reflecting the mission of the auxiliary for the benefit of the community. So I think that our conversations are open. We always have good, healthy dialogue, really good conversation. We investigate things to be sure we're fully prepared and informed, and we make decisions based on whether or not we feel that the request meets the mission of the hospital and feels like a good match, something that we can stand behind and can promote and encourage encourage, and then, as Dale said, feel good about presenting to the membership to see if they feel the same, and there's always good conversation there. So it's a real, I would call it a democratic process.
Very well said.
and very encouraging how we can participate in sharing our funds, because that's what it's all about. We're all about making sure that those that are giving are also receiving that gift back, which is what I really think it's all about, is that the money's coming from the community and going back to the community.
You bet. That's wonderful. Well, believe it or not, we are running out of time, but I do want to tell our viewers, how do they become a member? So if someone can just quickly tell us that, then we'll hopefully get some new members for you.
You can call Maris Rock, our membership chair, at 524-7585, or Katherine, our liaison,
Sure, at the hospital.
at 524-1055.
Great, and you can call the hospital number and ask for Katherine too, and to make
Right.
it easy. So that's great. Well, thank you.
You are so welcome.
I just love talking with you. We could talk for a lot longer, and maybe we'll have you back again to talk more about what you're up to. So thank you so much for joining me today.
Okay, thank
Thank
you.
you for having us.
I'm Jill Berry Bowen, CEO of Northwestern Medical Center, your host of the Healthbeat. This has been so much fun talking about the auxiliary and everything that they're doing to support the mission of the hospital. And we hope you become a member too. Thank you.